Make sure my Bluetooth. What is going on, y'all? What's going on? What's going on? We back in full effect. Day 5 of the 30-day challenge. Of course, you know, I had to use the weekend for the wife and the family, so we back in full effect. As this room continues to fill up, let's go ahead and, of course, let us know where it is where you're viewing us on tonight. Of course, I'm holding it down here in Missouri, St. Louis. So go let us know where you're viewing our session on. And, of course, on tonight, what we're going to be talking about is LORs and how to bag them, man. Because I made a post, I think this weekend, and a lot of people ask questions. I got a lot of DMs about, well, how do I get letters of recommendation? What do I need to include in letters of recommendations? And so that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. So, of course, as I always do with you guys, I make a promise. I swear, if in fact you put a question in the chat box, I'll put it on everything, y'all, that I'm going to answer it. Because I want to make sure that you guys come away full with answers. What's going on, Nick? Come away full with answers to the questions that you may have. Because, of course, I know right now we're in the midst of studying for the LSAT. How's the LSAT going, you guys? Or also, of course, trying to figure out what we're going to do when it comes to where we're going to apply to law school. And so right now, things are moving fast. And before you know it, I swear you guys, you're going to blink and it's going to be December. And so you want to make sure that you have a plan moving forward to ensure that you're going to be good. So go ahead and let us know where you're viewing our session from. Of course, I'm holding it down in Missouri. What's going on, Claire? Olivia Pope. We got Shalonda in the house. We got the Dallas chick. We got Murray Santa. We got Damon. We got Kev. What's going on, Kev? And so let's go ahead. Let us know where it is that you're viewing us in this session. And if, in fact, one of the things I've started to do, if, in fact, you want to join the live and have a video request, I'll be more than happy to answer as well. Oh, snap. We got Hawaii in the house. What's good? All right, who else we got in the house tonight? All right. And so another thing I want to do is give you guys a special announcement, too. One of the posts that we had, a young lady shared her story where she shot a shot and she got $300,000 scholarship from William & Mary Law School. Her name is Jada. She's going to be joining us for a live on Wednesday. And so you want to make sure that you come and you're tuned into that because Jada's going to be answering a lot of you guys' questions. Because let's be real, y'all, we ain't trying to settle for loans. I see Smooth for you, too. Smooth for you is here holding it down from Florida. What's going on, Victoria? And so you guys want to make sure that you tune into our IG lives that we're going to be doing every day this week at 11 o'clock. So we're going to have Jada, who's going to be joining us on Wednesday at 11. And also, of course, we're going to be starting back, relaunching, you guys, our silent Zoom study hall. And we're actually going to have a guest who just got through killing the LSAT. And she's going to be joining us on the live. She's going to be joining us for the Zoom call for that. So you want to make sure, of course, that you sign up for the Zoom call. Then we have 34 people registered for the Silent Zoom Study Hall, where you guys will be able to study, get your grind on, ask questions, post things up in the chat box. And we're going to have a guest who's going to come on who just got through killing the LSAT. Is going to be asking questions, answering questions. So again, you want to make sure that you do both of those things. Sign up for the Silent Zoom Study Hall. In my link is free $99. And also, of course, make sure that you do not miss one of these lives that we're going to be doing throughout this week, okay? So that's what we have going on today and this week. And, of course, I'll make some posts and some reminders out to you guys so that way you guys can make sure that you are in the know. Because at the end of the day, Olivia holding it down up in Louisiana, LA, we want to make sure that you guys have all the resources that you need to be successful, okay? Because affirmative action may be gone, but it does not have to mean the end to your lawyer dreams. And I'm all about trying to make sure that you have all of the resources that you need to be successful, okay? And so I hope that during our last session that we talked about, I showed you guys the step-by-step process of how to secure accommodations for free $99. I want you guys to give me some updates to see how that is actually going, how that's worked out. Got a couple success stories. I know a couple people was able to secure some accommodation testing. So I want to let you guys make sure you check that out. So what's going on, Victoria? Because I want to make sure you guys have all the resources that you need to win. So on tonight, Victoria, where you at, sis? Kaylin, where you at, sis? Rackpop 273, where you at, fam? Let us know as you join the chat where it is that you're viewing our session from. And one of the things I also want to ask you guys, if in fact you have a question, I want to make sure that you go ahead and drop it in the chat box. Because I want to make sure that you guys come away fed. Oh, man, I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Anthony. I'm the founder of Becoming JD, where our mission, our goal is to help you guys get into law school. We know there's a lot of barriers that are in your way. Let it be finances, let it be education, let it be resources, let it be not really knowing what to do. BK, stand up. I want to make sure that you guys have everything that you need to be successful. I remember when I was trying to go to law school, I was kind of going blind. I ended up getting lost. We got Huntington Beach holding it down. Texas in the house. What's up? Arizona. Yes, yes. Holding it down. We go from coast to coast. That's what I'm talking about, y'all. And so, again, tonight, I had a lot of people. When you guys make comments on our post, I really want to try to make sure and answer them. And so, tonight, what we're going to be talking about is letters of recommendation, you guys. Because I want you guys to be able to understand when it comes to these letters, y'all, how important these letters are, all right? And so, Jack Cruz, 89, I want you to think about it, right? For a lot of us, when we apply to law school, if you guys see me, Jack, going back and forth, it's because I'm holding my dog with the leash in one hand while also trying to do the session at the same time. So luckily, Sophia is now down. So I probably won't be moving too much. But nevertheless, let's get back on topic, right? And so for a lot of you guys, what's going on, Mr. A.J. Coleman? For a lot of us, when we're applying to law school, we don't really understand how important and how vital our letters of recommendations are. What's going on, Real Kim? But what you guys need to understand, hello, pre-law Laura, what you guys have to understand is that ultimately, for a lot of us, what we have to understand is that when we're applying to law school, a letter of recommendation is almost like a receipt. It's almost like your reputation is being placed on the line. And ultimately, what you guys have to realize is that value of that letter of recommendation is it's literally saying, Veronica, hey, Veronica says she want to go to law school, and we're giving her a year to get all her ish together for her to make her best case to why she should get accepted. You know what I'm saying, pre-law lawyer? And so when we do that, the expectation is, you guys, is that letter, Madison Renee, is going to be fired. That letter got to be fired, right, Kaylin? Because that expectation from the law school is that this person, Veronica, says she want to go to law school. So since Veronica says she want to go to law school, and she said that she wanted to go to law school her whole life, like a lot of us say, that means that the expectation, you guys, is that letter is going to meet that expectation. That means if that letter, that person that we've chosen to advocate for us, is the person that we've chosen that's going to sing our praises, who's going to talk everything that Madison has done that's wonderful, everything that Madison has to showcase, every skill that Madison has that's not in her letter, that's not in her essays. That's what they're going to talk about. You see what I'm saying, Caitlin? So when we think about that, a lot of times, it becomes important for who we get to select for our letters. So let's keep it a buck, you guys. What's going on, Essex? That letter has to really brag the hell about us. I mean, to the point where we got to be like, man, they really feeling her. They be like, man, Veronica's really fire. That's the expectation that we have to have in our letters, you guys. And if a person, Veronica, if they cannot sing your praises from the mountaintop, sis, ESX, if that person who you get to write a letter of recommendation for you, Trab Brins, if that person cannot sing your praises from the mountaintops, check this out, Mr. Don't Quit, then guess what? You can't ask them. You cannot afford. You only got 3 of them. 3 letters. So we need those letters to sing the praises about Mr. Don't Quit. To talk about how Mr. Don't Quit got exactly what them law schools is looking for. To talk about how, Madison, man, talk about Madison's work ethic. Talk about pre-law Laura. Hey, man, this person got something that y'all need. If they can only talk about Mr. Don't Quit's academic performance, then that ain't going to cut it, bro. It ain't going to cut it, sis. And I want you guys to be able to understand at the end of the day, really, when you look at your letter of recommendations, it's almost like supporting documentation. It's either going to support what you've already said about yourself, and it's going to be aligned with what also is included in your resume, or they're not going to match up. And we want it to be as pristine as a Steve Harvey suit. You know, my man be matching from head to toe, from the socks to the cufflinks to the hair. Well, not the hair, but to everything. That's how intentional we have to be, Madison. And so that means that we have to make sure that we're getting people who want to really speak specifically about us. And so I know oftentimes some of the challenges that we have, you guys, is that we may not have those type of relationships with people who can write those type of letters for us. If that's a problem that you're having, go ahead and raise your hand in the chat box. Because you know what? Your boy had that problem too when I was applying to law school. If that's a problem that you having right now, trying to find people to really sing your praises, throw your hands up. If the problem that you're also having, you guys, is trying to figure out, well, what do they need to say about me, throw your hands up. Or another problem that a lot of people have, Alana, is the problem that you're having, well, they told me to write the letter of recommendation for them. I get that a lot too. So if these are some of the problems that you guys are having, I want to make sure that you guys know how to actually address it, okay? Dasha put her hand up and said, that's me. Anybody else got those same problems? And so I want to show you guys how to attack those problems, because right now, I told you guys during our last session, this is the slow period, right? Right now, people who may write letters of recommendation for you are not getting a lot of requests, which is the perfect time, Mr. Don't Quit, for you to start that process of shooting your shot. Am I right, Kev? And so you want to begin that process before the rush comes. But it's one thing to the rush to come, but what is it that I need to have in my letters, okay? And so let's see here. We got Mason Asia. Thank you for joining us, sis. Let us know where you're viewing our session from. Thank you, Joe Jose Falcone. Thank you for joining us. Make sure let us know where you're viewing our session from. All right, so what we want to make sure that we're doing, right? Okay, so I want to make sure that someone write this down in the chat box for the people who are just joining us, okay? We're talking about letters of recommendation, what we need to include, and who do we need to ask. And one of the things I want to put you on game with, because I have a lot of non-traditional students out there that maybe who graduated from college multiple years ago. Is that you too? That sure as hell was me. I know I had somebody who sent me a DM, said they were 42 years old, and they said, how the hell do I get a letter of recommendation? I'm sure my professor may be dead or in heaven right now, right? Or in a retirement home. And so these are some of the common problems that people have. And so I wanted to dedicate this entire evening after hours chat with y'all just based solely on that, okay? You know what I'm saying, Jose Falcone? You with me, Mason? You with me, sis? All right, cool. And so when it comes to the contents of our letter of recommendation, what we wanted to first talk about, mine varsarel. I said that wrong, but I'm sorry. What we want the contents of that LOR to talk about, Daniel, is first, your character. Law schools are looking for good people. You know, let's be real, you guys. Law schools aren't looking for robots. And it's one thing for for you to say you're a good person. It's one thing for Mr. Don't, now I know Mr. Don't Quit is a good person. But it's another thing, Daniel, to see what other people are going to be saying about you, right? And when you now have the choice, Daniel, to actually have people to make the choice of who's going to say things about you, you want to be mindful of, you should be able to guess based off of who you select what they're going to say about you. And so if you only have someone that can talk just about your grades, Goddess Lovely one, then maybe you should ask somebody else. You see what I'm saying, Tariq? Thank you for joining us. So when we talk about our letters, it's not about them just talking about your grades. Because honestly, I tell people at the time, law schools don't like to repeat themselves, right? So if you're telling me something that I can already see on my own, that's a wasted opportunity. What do I mean by that, Daniel? That means if all you're going to talk about is their grades, well, damn, I could look at your transcripts to see that. So if you're giving me information that I already have, that's a wasted opportunity. See what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? Raise your hand. So that means that every opportunity that we have to share something, it's about us having someone share something different, right? And I said that in previous lives where people are going to share something different in our essays, right? And then we're going to share something different in our LOR. So I may choose somebody, let's say I choose somebody professionally who's going to talk about my growth and transition at the workplace. You see what I'm saying? We're going to talk about maybe when I first started at the job as an intern, and then how I made my moves, how I've gained knowledge, how I've been able to gain the trust of my employer, gain the trust of my supervisor, to talk about how I've grown and evolved from the point of where I've worked, right? Because what law schools are, check this out, Tariq. Law schools are looking for things that are trending upward. Let's be honest, man. It's just like a stock. You guys are like a stock, right? Think about it, right? I want to get down with something that's moving in an upward trajectory. And so if I'm getting LORs and they're just saying, man, Tariq showed up for work. We ain't fire him yet. I mean, you know, he does. He comes. Pre-law Laura comes. She present. She ain't quit yet. A lot of you guys don't even realize that a lot of times we're giving off that vibe in our LORs. And what message that sent in the law school is, dang, you telling me Tariq had a year to get the best of all this stuff together? And he could ask anybody? And this is who he asked? Someone who cannot even talk about him? You telling me Laura had all this time? And this is the best that Laura could do? Dang, so she must not know anybody who could write good about her. We have to get in the mindset of the law school, you guys. And by us doing that, it helps us be able to create a strategy to understand that meet that expectation, right? And so for a lot of us, you guys, when it comes to what I like to do, I like to get a LOR from somebody from my job or someone, maybe not a supervisor, Mr. Don't Quit, but maybe it's going to be from a colleague who's worked side by side with me. See, when you guys think about it, we talk about professional, we automatically think about the boss. Let's talk about a colleague who's worked side by side with you. Maybe someone who started the job with you. Maybe someone specifically could talk about witnessing how you've grown and evolved at the workplace. Or maybe think about this. Imagine you do a professional letter of recommendation and you consider asking somebody that you've trained. Think about that, Laura. Think about somebody that you've trained. Someone who could say, well, they've learned a lot from you. Someone who could talk about how they came into a space not knowing anything, but because of you and how they look up to you, how that's been able to change the whole trajectory of their life and also their professional experience as well. You get what I'm saying? If you get what I'm saying, raise your hand, because this is what I want you guys to be able to think about. Because a lot of times when we're thinking about, or even for a lot of us, we get past the concern of, okay, I got that professional letter, but what the hell am I going to do about my educational letter? Am I right? Am I right? I remember when I was applying to law school a couple years after graduating from Morehouse, and who I would have asked for a letter of recommendation, he retired. So I had no clue what to do. So I remember, man, I was almost like a PI trying to find him to figure out where he was to get a letter of recommendation. And so because now the advent of technology is a bit different, I want to put you guys on strategies on what to be able to do, okay? And so if you have professors who you may have had relationships with in the past, and of course time has passed, life has happened, life is lifing, right? You may be trying to figure out, well, how do I go about getting those letters now? Now that I've been a professional for a while, how do I get those educational letters? All right? That's the question, right? And so what I want you guys to do, and again, I'm all about contact, you guys. And I want us to utilize the resources that we have in front of us. Right now, when I press live and I'm available to be viewed by billions of people. And with that same access to that technology, Mr. Don't Quit, we're also able to then reach out to our professors or former professors who we may have lost contact with, right? And so I want us to utilize Instagram. I want us to utilize Facebook. But before we do that, of course, I want us to check to see if, in fact, that professor who we're interested in seeking out a letter of recommendation from, because some law schools, you guys, actually require a letter of recommendation from a professor, okay? And so in that particular situation, and Tariq, I got your questions. Let me finish this 1 second, okay? And so in that particular situation, you want to contact the educational institution that you attended, that you want to request a letter of recommendation. See if in fact that professor is still there. If he is there, praise the Lord. And if he or she is there, you guys, then what you want to be able to do is be able to try to schedule an interview appointment with them. What? You want to schedule an interview appointment with them. And what I mean by that, you guys, is that you then want to be able to provide them, because a lot of this is not going to go over emails, right? Because Tariq, one of the things I tell you guys is, how many emails you got in your phone right now? Let me go do a quick check for mine. Let's see. 1,000 emails that I have not opened yet, right? So when we thinking about trying to reach out to people for letters of recommendation, and especially in a situation where there may not be a lot of contact, is that we initially, you guys, want to reach out by phone. Because I got 7,000 emails that I have not looked at. How many emails you got, Tariq, that you ain't looked at? Keep it a buck. Keep it a buck, y'all. We don't check our emails, and we're not checking our emails. More likely than not, the professors who we're trying to shoot our shot at are not checking their emails either, especially right now during the summer times where they're all spending times with their family, right? So the best bet, you guys, is to contact them by phone, assistant. Reach out to their assistants, you guys, and ask them specifically about scheduling an appointment, virtual or in person. I know for me, because I lived in Nashville at the time, I scheduled an in-person appointment, and I just literally drove to Atlanta and went to my old office where I went at Morehouse. And so you want to schedule an in-person or a virtual appointment with their assistant. You want to get on their schedule. Understand this, you guys. I know HBCUs may be a bit different, but this is the process you want to have to get through. You're going to have to be consistent, all right? You're going to have to be persistent. All right, my HBCU folks out there, we know about that persistent life. Am I right? The only way you get things done is you have to be persistent, okay? And so, again, don't email. Tariq said he got 1,000 emails he ain't checked. I got 7,000 I haven't checked, okay? So you want to call their assistant. Ask about their schedule. Get on their schedule, okay? And then that's the best thing that can happen, okay? If you get on their schedule, what you're going to do is then you'll send an email. Why? Because now there's an expectation of you being able to meet with them, right? And they now are looking out for your email, right? And so then when you get on that schedule and talk to their assistant, right, or their TA, or, let's be real, with HBCU love, maybe their voicemail, what you're going to do is then provide them with information for the upcoming meeting, right? You're going to provide them with an update of information about yourself. You may provide them with your resume. You may provide them with a brief bio of where you are in your life, and maybe a brief letter. What I did was I had a letter telling them the class that I took and the impact they made on me. I remember, I'll never forget, his name was Dr. Gregory Hall, nicest man in the world. And I remember I sent him a letter before our meeting telling him about the impact that he made on my life and how he made a difference on my life and how important it was for me in taking this next step in my life that I wanted him to be a part of it, to tell him, to share how the impact that he made on my life. That way, you guys, I was giving him a nudge on what I needed, and I was also refreshing his memory on when I was in his class. And so that way, when it got time for us to have that meeting, he already had a familiarity of who I was. You get what I'm saying? Go ahead and throw their hands up. Throw their hands up in the chat box if y'all get what I'm saying, okay? And so that way now, we're not going into the meeting now cold. Y'all get me? Y'all get me? You get me, Tariq? You get me? And so that way, what happens is now, what I like to do, I'm a very straight shooter. I guess you guys have not figured it out yet. And so I like to just get to the point of me having a conversation of telling them what my expectations are. Listen, you guys. Listen, Kaylee threw her hands up. That's what I'm talking about, sis. Is I want to make sure that when I get into this meeting, I have my expectations, right? So that means I'm telling them that, you know, Dr. Hall, this is what I did. Dr. Hall, my dream has always been to go to law school. And one of the requirements for me to be able to try to apply for Emory Law School is I have to get a letter of recommendation from a professor. I'd love an opportunity to get a letter from you, but I know it's been some time since we last spoke. And I would love to give you an update on everything that's going on in my life. But it's so important for me to have these particular things included in my letter of recommendation. I would love to be able, I remember I volunteered for him for a week. I drove from Nashville to Atlanta for a week, volunteering and working with him in order for me to get that letter of recommendation. And it ended up working out for me. But that extra work that I did made a difference. And now a lot of us, you guys, what's going on, DJ? A lot of us, you guys, we're getting letters of recommendation and crossing our fingers and hoping that they're going to write something nice about me. Please say something nice. But what I like to do is I'd like to take the guesswork out of the whole equation. This is what I need in the letter. Dr. Hall, I made these particular points and bullet points. Is this something that you can do? Yeah, Anthony, it's something I can do, but I need to, I'd love for us to work together for a while before I can feel comfortable writing that letter. Okay, I'll be here all week, Dr. Hall. I drove every day from Nashville to Atlanta and made it happen. But a lot of times, you guys, that's what we're going to have to do. Now, of course, we're now in a time where maybe that call doesn't happen in person anymore. Maybe that interview is able to happen on Zoom like we're talking right now. But nevertheless, regardless of the situation, you guys, I want you to be able to understand that if we want these letters, we have to understand that that whole comfort level thing, the whole thing about convenience is out the door. And especially if, in fact, you're a so-called non-traditional student, we're going to have to do a little bit extra. But you know what I think? I think you're worth it. I think you're worth it. I think if, in fact, you put in all this energy and effort to study for these damn LSATs, right? Then if I have to do a little bit extra work to get the letters I need to be successful, then God dang it, I'm going to do it, right? Because I want you to understand that at some point, you're also going to have to invest in yourself when it comes to this journey. And that means doing a little bit extra, okay? So for you guys who've just joined us, what we talked about, you guys, is that if you're trying to get letters of recommendations from professors, and it's been, especially been some times that you took the class or met with them or had a relationship with them, then you want to be able to schedule an interview with them to meet with them, okay? And in doing that, again, I said, don't use the phone. I said, hold on. I said, don't email. Use the phone. Because we don't check emails, right? But we can answer phone calls. We can schedule an appointment with their assistant. You get what I'm saying, Gabrielle? And so I want to make sure that you guys have all these resources so that way you know exactly what you're doing, okay? And so I'm continuing to go with this journey because the next thing, hold on, let me stop for a second to ask a question. Tariq had a question a couple chats ago. He said, my LORs came from professors that can talk about but that I've contributed to class and applicable skills I have once with a firm in a relationship. Hold on, let's see here. One of my LORs would not start on my letter by email or by phone. I had to meet in person to get it done. Yeah, exactly, you guys. There's going to be a situation where you may have to step out your comfort zone, you guys, okay? And especially for my non-traditionals, like to my queen out there who said she was 42 and wanted to go to law school, this may be the pathway forward for you, where you're going to have to reach out and re-engage with that professor. I know one of the things I did, man, when I met with Dr. Hall, even though I was tired driving from Nashville, boy, I brought him some Popeyes and everything. We're going to have lunch on me. So sometimes we may have to do a little bit extra to show our appreciation and gratitude. But let's be honest with you guys, that's why it's also so important for us to do the work early, right? I got my letters done in the summertime before all my other brothers from Morehouse was trying to get theirs in September or October and later in the fall. So I got all my work done. And that's the kind of position I want to put you guys in so you're able to beat the rush, okay? And so we talked about what to do specifically if you, in fact, it's been a minute since you had your professor, right? That's the first thing we talked about. That was the second thing. But the first thing we talked about specifically is in regards to when we're trying to attack how to get those professional letters of recommendation, right? When it comes to those professional letters of recommendation, I told you guys, sometimes, getting a letter from a supervisor may not always be of serve to you. Getting a letter from someone who may not have worked a lot side by side with you may not always be the best, maybe a better letter. So consider possibly not just a supervisor, but a colleague who worked with you. Or the second thing I said was consider someone that you trained who could talk about how much help that you provided for them. Again, you guys, we have to think about what impression we're making to law schools when they read our letters. When I read your letter of recommendation, I'm not going to say, wow, this is a hard worker. I'm going to say, wow, this is a good person. Wow, this is somebody who's a good character. Those are the impressions that I want to be able to give. Because if I look at Tariq's letter of recommendation and all it tells me is that, man, Tariq is a good student, that means that I'm not learning anything new about Tariq. Our goal is to be able to share new information. In previous lives, I said to you guys, this is like a Netflix series, you guys. Your application is an entire Netflix series, you guys. Your personal statement is episode 1. Your diversity episode is episode 2. Your resume is episode 3. Your LOR is episode 4, 5, and 6. I mean, we're making a whole season, y'all. You know what I'm saying? And so the thing is making sure at every point that we're providing something that's going to keep them engaged, to keep them wanting to learn more about you, to get them to the point where they say, oh, hell yeah, I want to watch season 2. Because season 2 means what? You in a dang law school, right? And so we're trying to get to a season 2 with you getting accepted. And that's the whole goal of everything that we're doing. So you guys felt that Netflix vibe I just gave out there? Y'all got that? Y'all got that? All right. So let's see if someone other question said, if a school requires one OLR, should I submit more? Well, one of the things I like for you guys to do, and that was a question that was submitted by God's Lovely One. When it comes to your LORs, I oftentimes tell you guys to get a bag. I tell my students, you want to get about 6 to 8, right? Because you want to be able to, you can catch a vibe and realize which LOR is going to work or not. You can have a meeting with your professor or a meeting with a professional and say, this LOR is going to be awesome, right? I want you to be in a situation, God is lovely, number one, to where you can be able to have a choice of figuring out which schools you want to allocate them from. I remember for me, I got so intentional, you guys, that I started targeting prospective recommenders based off of where they went to law school and where I wanted to go to law school. So that way I knew I was going to be getting letters. I started to target people based off of the schools that I was applying to. Now, y'all trying to be like that? I'm going to show you how to get like that, okay? And so, but you want to be able to have a nice little bucket of LORs. And one of the things I tell all my students to also do, you guys, and check this out. You're not going to like it, but hear me out, Rose 100. I want you guys to prepare as if you're going to get waitlisted from law school. What does that mean? What the hell, Anthony? We're supposed to get accepted. What I mean by that, you guys, is I want you to ask some people for letters of recommendation that you want to hold back on personally, that you want to be able to keep for yourself to provide to law schools just in case you get waitlisted. Y'all check that out? Did you get that? Or what you want to be able to utilize, not just if you get waitlisted, but also for you to utilize as a negotiating tool if, in fact, you want to request an increase of your awards letter. Y'all got that? Did y'all catch that? Did y'all catch what I just said? Did you get that? Someone put that in the chat box. Because that's some fire right there. Okay? Because at the end of the day, you want to be prepared. Did y'all check that out? So I'm going to say it again, okay? I want you guys to approach the law school application process as if you're going to get waitlisted. What do I mean by that? That means that I want you, Black CFP to law, I want you guys to be able to get letters of recommendation that you can hold back and use just in case you get waitlisted. Or two, I want you to be able to have letters of recommendation that you can already have in reserve that you can be able to utilize as a way to negotiate to get a larger awards package, which is what I actually did, in which I've had my clients and students actually do, right? So that way, when you're asking for a letter of consideration, right, or asking for an awards increase, you can say, hey, I got letters of recommendation that I can now include with that letter of continued interest already on deck. You don't have to wait for them anymore, right? Or either two, if I'm over here trying to get this bag or get these coins, I can now make a request to increase my awards letter while also having, what? Some more letters of recommendation. And as opposed to waiting for someone to write them, you already got them on deck. Y'all get what I'm saying? Y'all get that? Because I want you guys to make sure you're in a situation where you're not panicking. I don't want you guys to be in a situation where your application is literally done and you waiting for damn LORs. Because, bro, that was me my first time applying to law school. I had everything on deck. But because I procrastinated with my letters of recommendation, I ended up having to submit some trash letters of recommendation just to get some letters of recommendations submitted to meet the requirement. And I don't want that to be you, okay? And so, again, we talked about how to get letters of recommendation as a non-traditional student from professors. We talked about how to get letters of recommendations specifically, if in fact, from professionals. Again, we love getting a letter from the boss, from the partners of the firm. But sometimes maybe we can get it from the admin who works with us. Maybe we can get it from someone who we train with. So those are some pathways that I want you guys to be able to consider, okay? Again, we have to one of the things I tell people in all my consultations that I do, I call them pre-law strategy sessions. All the ones I do, I tell you guys, I say, we don't want law schools to finish our sentences. Why? Because if a law school finishes our sentences, you guys, we become predictable. And one of the things I say to all my kings and queens out there, all right, y'all ready for it? To my students that are on the live, I'm sure y'all have heard me say it before, so I'm going to say it again anyway. The line that I always tell you guys in every last one of my sessions, I tell you guys, I said, imagine if you were at the mall and somebody said to you, dang, did it hurt when you fell from heaven? Keep it a buck, fierce. Keep it a buck, y'all. What would y'all say? Put in the chat box. If somebody told you, dang, did it hurt when you fell from heaven? What would you say in response? A lot of y'all out there would either smile and keep it pushing, but nobody out there, not a king, not a queen out there, would stop and talk. And the reason that is, you guys, is because immediately you would have concluded that, what's going on, sis? Immediately what you would have concluded after someone ran a lame line by you and said, did it hurt when you fell from heaven? You would have concluded that there's nothing of value that you're going to learn from that conversation. You would immediately thought, check this out, y'all, that because there's nothing of value that I can learn from this conversation, there's no reason for me to continue reading. Am I right? Am I right? Oh, hey, listen, man. I want to go ahead and get this sister on here so you guys can ask her some questions. Hood Court TV show. Sis is fire. All right. I want you guys to ask her some cues, her drop some knowledge. I always like to have you guys open for my video requests. I'm going to go ahead and let her in on here to drop some knowledge on y'all aspiring lawyers. And let's go and see what happens. Did it go?
Becoming
What's going on, sis?
JD.
How's it going over there?
I love your page.
Hey, man, when I saw you jump on the live, I was like, man, if she sent a video request, she definitely going to have to come on here and drop some knowledge.
Well, it
on these
wasn't
aspiring
nothing
lawyers
but
over here.
God's timing, because I actually was on my personal page, which is The Plugs Lawyer. I'll type that in the comments. I actually just got off a live on my personal page giving some business advice. So this is nothing but God's timing. I seen you on the live and I said, you know what? Let me get on. So thank you for having on. Officially, my name is Tiffany M. Simmons. I reside, I'm based in Atlanta. However, my practice has touched clients all over the world. Law. We do business. Besides having a law practice, I have transitioned successfully to do shows such as Court TV, Law and Crime, TV One. I've been in movies, I've been in music videos, and henceforth we're on the platform for my TV show, Hood Court, where I'm known as Judge Tip, aka the Black Judge Judy. So yes, I am definitely unorthodox when we look at what people think lawyers are. But one of the ways I even found becoming JD is because of my book for young lawyers, law students, called That's Law. It's a short ebook that I wrote, and we have another page for that. And so when I saw your page, I started sharing your information because it's the same common goal of supporting the ones after us, showing them the ropes, etc. I didn't come from corporate. I didn't come from lawyers. I came from hardworking individuals, business owners. I'm the first lawyer in my family, and I built Simmons Law from a $0 business to I just earned a $160 million verdict against Sony in December.
Preach.
Yes,
testify, sis.
But
testify.
God's grace and mercy and love, my faith, my dedication. So again, I am honored to be on your platform at this juncture, because when I was doing my reach backs and talking to law students, this, that, and the third, that was, you know, pre internet. That was pre COVID. That was during the times where you really laid the groundwork in person, in real life. And we're blessed to have this social media as a tool to connect to other people in other places, and you know, get the students where they need to be.
Absolutely. And I know one of the things that what drew me to you is your authenticity. And I love that, because I feel like one of the things that so many people are so scared of is being themselves. And oftentimes we, especially in this time with affirmative action no longer being in place, people feel even more fearful of being themselves. And what I try to explain to people, one of the things I love about you is that you walk into the space, this is me. And being you is what's going to make you stand out. Being you is what's going to make you be successful. And especially being you is what's going to make you be something that everybody's going to be drawn to. And if in fact you're not, bye. And that's the authenticity that oftentimes people are so afraid of. And that's why I created this platform, because I want to be able to celebrate brown and black excellence, because we don't see us on the evening news winning anything besides championships in basketball and sports. But we're winning in so many other avenues. We do see it
sometimes. I think we're just, you know, and when I say we, I'm saying just as a people, society, black, white included. Sometimes we're just more drawn to celebrating the entertainment and sports versus the champions in law and legal. For me, you know, I've always had the mission of, like I say, the mission of the Plus Lawyer brand is to raise the 1.78% of black female attorneys to 5% by the year 2025. The ways I do that is through my lawyer track museum that I created, which was a museum based around lawyers, and my brand, the Plugs Lawyer. What we need is for us to support these initiatives, support the movements that are out there that are creating and cultivating experiences to expose you all to the legal system without it being in despair or fearful, or you got to go to court. This is why I need a lawyer. No, get to know who we are. One of my commercials for Simmons Law, a $10,000 commercial, because they don't talk about business of law, but one of my commercials that I did, I even say in that commercial, I'm a suit. So why would I try to be something that I'm not? You know, God has blessed me for my path or my road. So, you know, people applaud me for being authentic, and I appreciate it, but I'm like, why would I not be myself? And that's easy for me to say, looking back, you know, it's easy for me to say because so many people, like you said, are fearful of being themselves. And, you know, people see her, oh, she's ghetto, she's this, she's that. I was a page for the House of Representatives at the age of 16 at the White House in DC, coming from Michigan there. I've won all these accolades and awards, Lawyer of the Year, top lawyer, and the this and the that. So I've been to the academies, the bar academies, and all of the things. So if y'all, you know, for the people,
check my
so for the people that think that it's even about credentials, no, you want to be a well-rounded human being. You want to be a well-rounded person. One thing I want to share with the Black and brown audience that you have, because that I didn't know. Okay, when we are looked at, Black attorneys, brown attorneys, you know, melanated attorneys, we are always looked at from a perspective of, oh, that's good. You know, you're taking care of our community. You're helping us, blah, blah, blah. And it's nothing wrong with that. However, when you see our counterparts, you know that it's business. You know that you paying them. You know that it's a cost. You're not trying them with the, can I do a payment arrangement? I ain't got the money. I gave the majority firm $20K and I ain't got it. They stole my money. All of those things you may experience with some of those other firms that you don't experience with minority firms. However, you all fail to bring the resources to us. And that's something I want y'all younger attorneys, law students that are going to have your own private practice, just know that's something that I had no freaking clue. would be, and I come from a family of entrepreneurs, so I understand business, but having the white man's ice is colder, having the crab in the barrel, having the begging for free work, when all of that experience that I have experienced at different points in my 14-year career, I had no clue that that would be there. And it hurt. Wow. It sucked looking at people that look like you, that you have to fight for them. It's exhausting. It's exhausting. It's exhausting. It's exhausting. So that's some of the behind the scenes, but where you want me to go with this, what questions you have for me, because again, bro.
Oh, I got some questions. Yeah. All right. I got some questions. All right. So this is one of my first questions for you. Is I want you, because I know for a lot of people on this call, they ain't even gotten to law school yet. And so I want you to tell them, what the process was like for you getting letters. We was talking about letters of recommendations tonight. If you could go back to the time machine, what is something that you would have done differently when it came to you getting your letters of recommendations?
All right. Well, that is a great question, because my story is a little bit different. My story.
Great. I love it.
Yeah, my story is to get it out the mud. The hood princess did it. And that's just
Hey. Yeah, this is what people need to hear.
This is what they need to hear. And you can hear this in other interviews, in my books, everything. And shouts out to people that's checking in, that's hood jurors. If you follow the show, you're a hood juror, and we love y'all to support the brand. But anyway, how I got into school and letters of recommendation. 100% I did not have letters of recommendation. Let me tell you what happened. For me, my story to get into school was really a story of faith and knowing from a shadow of doubt what God had for me. I thought I had it on the table. I had a book that I wrote in like 5th grade where I said I was going to be a very successful lawyer. So that's even a testament to my faith of knowing, like, from a kid that I was going to do this. But anyway, getting into law school. So knew I wanted to go out FAMU grad from undergrad. I went to the School of Business. So shout out to my HBCUs, FAMU in the building. Graduated FAMU, and I didn't have my, for me was, you go to college, I'm thinking I'm gonna get out, get a good ass job, all of these things that you are taught, whether it's from friends, family, society, or whatever. So when that didn't happen, I'm like, well, what the fuck? I had friends who didn't go to, excuse my language, but this is just real. And it's late night, so I'm sure you don't have no rooms on here. Right.
The kids in bed.
At that time, I'm looking at friends who didn't go to college, making more money than me, and this, that, and the third. So now I'm mad. Like, well, what the fuck? I grew up going to smart schools, gifted programs. I've always been in accelerated programs with school. So I knew my way out of the hood, besides, being pretty, was use your brain, be smart. So for me, I always had a plan. I left home at 17. Home for me was Grand Rapids, Michigan. So shouts out to Michigan. I left at 17 to go all the way to Florida to FAMU. So fast forward, I knew I wanted something better for my life. I started applying to law schools. For 2 years, I applied to law schools in the state of Georgia. I applied to Georgia State. I applied to Emory. And as it pertains to letters of recommendation, I can say I don't really recall me having difficulties getting them or issues with them. So honestly, I can't really speak in detail on that part. But again, I'm just telling you, my road was a little bit different, and my road is a way to give people hope outside of, you got to do it A, B,
Yeah.
C. So, go ahead.
All right, so let's drop into one of the things you said, because a lot of people, you know, they see your story, they see you doing big things, see you on the radio, they be like, hold on, you mean she had to? It took her 2 years? People don't understand that grind, and so dive a little bit deep if you can in that grind, in that process of like applying and like doing it again and running it back. Because I tell people all the time, I was like,
Yep.
see, all y'all see
Yep.
is the license,
Yep.
but y'all don't see the
Yep.
testimony, what
All
happened
they
to get there. And I said, because everything that happened is why you grinding like you are right now. It would have been gifted to you after fam. We wouldn't be having no hood court TV. You know what I'm saying? But it's because of everything that happened that grinded, where it's like, man, I'm gonna make this happen. And I just want you to talk about that process if you can for a minute, about that
well,
stubbornness
this
that
is
it's
the thing.
gonna happen.
I knew
Y'all, it's
that
gonna
when
work.
I left home at 17 that I wanted better for myself. I mean, the short answer is I always lived hood rich, to be honest. The family, you know, I came from a hardworking family, but they had businesses in the hood. We had, you know, money, that hood, you know, we lived comfortable. But my mom, I never had time with my mom because she worked 2 jobs. I never had, you know, those things that make a whole rounded individual. I kind of raised myself. You know what I'm saying? So as it pertains to the 2 years of not getting in school, yes, that was hard. Applying and getting no's, applying and saying apply again the next semester. And the reason why I applied to the same schools for 2 years is because I had student loan debt from FAMU. And I said, you know, I want to go to Georgia State, the state school, the cheaper school. You know, I'm looking at, I don't have mom and dad on my FAFSA paperwork to none of that. So everything fell back on me. And so during that time, it wasn't necessarily even a stubbornness that kept me going. It was just faith that I knew that I wanted more, faith that I knew that I deserved more and wanted more out of life. During the time after FAMU, I worked at Clark Atlanta for a little bit in their admissions office. I worked at Morehouse School of Medicine in one of their grant programs. And really, one of the motivations was me working in those situations and then getting let go from the grant program. House 5. And I was working at Morehouse School of Medicine. I wasn't making like a great amount of money, but I was set up, I thought, to get a promotion with the new grant we were going to do. Whereas, you know, money wise, my home would be affordable, blah, blah, blah. Well, we make plans and life says, fuck your plans. Because what ended up happening is I didn't stay on with the school. Some of the backstory is, of course, jealousy and envy of a young girl, you know, full of life ideas, wanting to bring change to the university. And a lot of people didn't like that. And so, note to students, sometimes, you know, you get in certain environments where people like the status quo. And I'm talking about Black people because I was at Morehouse School of Medicine. So it's not a race thing when you get to a certain level. It's a money thing. It's a power thing. Just remember that, students. It's not necessarily a race thing when you get to a certain level. Trust me. So that 2 years of not getting in school, it was a lot. It was heavy mentally because what will I do? What am I gonna do next? So anyway, when I got let go from the grant program, or the grant ended, that was the okay, you gonna sink or swim time. And that's when I never forget, I went to Michigan to visit, and I saw one of my mentors, well, a lady that had known me since high school. She was actually one of the reasons why I got the job to be a page for the House of Representatives, because her daughter did it. Her daughter is now a doctor, et cetera, et cetera. So me coming from a single mom who labeled dyslexic, you know, a bunch of other stuff,
Me too.
teenage parents, whatever. I do thank God that the stuff she didn't know, whatever way, God or her or my dad or whatever, got me in the places to learn and know stuff and be around environments to cultivate her gifted daughter. I mean, since birth, I have been labeled gifted. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I just thank God that it was able to be cultivated enough to get me to where I am now. And I thank God for whomever he's sending now at this stage in my career, you know, as a multimillionaire. That's even a whole process within itself as well. And we can have another live conversation of, you know, after you make it, you know, whatever. So anyway, the story goes is this. I see her probably, it was the beginning of August or end of July. I see her in Michigan and she's like, hey, Tiffany, what are you doing now? And I said, oh, I'm doing a little bit of business consultation. I'm basically just chilling because at the time I was with, you know, my guy, my ex-husband now, but I was with him. So I really, you know, just was living life. But I will be honest, I wasn't happy because I knew that I was, you know, wanted more out of life. And she told me, I said, well, I've been applying to law schools, but I haven't got it accepted. And she said, well, did you look at John Marshall, Atlanta's John Marshall? And I said, yeah, I looked at it, but honestly, I spent a lot of money at FAMU. I don't want to pay for a private school. Fuck that. I don't have the money. And she said, Tiffany, well, if John Marshall gonna give you that same paper that Georgia State can give you, just take a look at it. And I said, you know what, Miss Henry, you're right. I'll take a look at it. You know, don't hurt to try. So law students never give up. That's the example of never giving up. It don't hurt to try. Even if the idea don't make sense to you, just try it. You never know. So I called the school. So I get on the phone with yes, I called the school. So I'm on the phone with the director of admissions. Shouts out to Shannon Keefe. She's no longer there, but hey, that was my door. So, or that was the window that I busted open. So anyway, so I'm on the phone with Shannon Keefe and she's telling me all of the things I've heard before. She said, I said, hi, you know, I heard about the school. What's the process? Can I get in for August? You know, blah, blah, blah. And she tells me, no, there's a wait list. You know, you can fill out an application. You can do blah, blah, blah. So she's telling me the process. Now, in the middle of her telling me, no, you can apply and maybe for next semester, she tells me, I forget, I might have asked her, are you sure that's the only way I can get in school? Whatever I said to her, she said, well, the only way you can really get in this semester is if the dean lets you in. Soon as she said that, becoming JD, let me tell you what the fudge lawyer did.
That's wrong, sis. How we wrong?
What I did, instead of being discouraged by her telling me to apply online and wait till next semester, when she told me the dean could let me in, guess what I did? Now, this is where opportunity meets preparation and success comes. I did opportunity.
Hold on, say that one more time.
And preparation, they join together to create success. You can have an opportunity, but if you're not prepared, you won't get the success. So what I will say is, prior to going up to this school with my paperwork, I took the LSAT twice. I didn't have a very high score, but I had an acceptable score. I had my transcript from FAMU, which was great. I had what is it? The certified, or are they called certified copies, I guess? I don't know. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
well, I
official
had an
transcript,
official
official.
one with me as well. I didn't have to go and say, let me call the school, let me order one, because I had already done that. So the very next day, I went up to the school with my official transcript, my resume, and my LSAT score. And I walked in the admissions office and I said, hi, may I speak with, the dean or whatever. Dean Lynn, 6 foot something tall guy, comes out. I'm only 5'2", y'all, so I'm a short motherfucker, but I'm that one. Anyway, he comes out and I said, hi, I'm Tiffany Simmons. I know I'm supposed to be in law school. I was told the only way I can get into law school this semester is if you let me in. So will you please look over my information and let me know? He stood there speechless. Wow. He took my information. He said, wow, Tiffany, we'll let you know. I went home. I went on with the rest of my day. I said, fuck it, I tried. Went on with the rest of my day. And that's the part of, the buzzword now people use is manifestation. That's the part of manifestation where you say it, you say what it is, and then you release it. So I released it. I kid you not, the very next day at about 12:45 p.m., I get a call from the dean. He said, you know what, Tiffany, I'm going to let you in this semester. Nothing but God's grace. Nothing but God's mercy. What he told me after that was, can you be here at 1 o'clock with your $500 seat deposit to hold your in school? I said yes. I hung up that phone. Me and my ex-husband ran around the house thanking God, praising God, trying to scrounge up the $500. I showed up to that school by 1:15 in my outfit, whatever, with my $500. Another thing I want to point out to the students watching. Let's touch on that, because sometimes people say, I don't want to apply because I didn't know for 2 weeks straight if I was going to, because of the foreclosure on my property. Yeah, that property I told y'all I bought when I was like 24, I lost it because the school fired me, or, the grant ended, so I had no job. Right. And then at the time, I wasn't equipped with the tools to handle business properly, to save it. And then it was during the time where it was the mortgage crisis, because they was giving us loans that we couldn't afford.
That's right.
So that was a lot going on. I didn't know if I was going to have the money to pay for school, but God did, and God showed up. I got my student loans 2 weeks later, didn't need a co-signer, didn't need another applicant, etc. And the first thing I said was, it's cool, private school, because you know what? The $100 and some thousand, I'm going to be able to write that check real easy because I trust God. And I went through my loss, putting God first, walking by faith, no matter what I saw. And when I graduated John Marshall Law School, period of time, because I went through summer schools as well. I went straight through for 3 years, and I passed the bar exam on the first time.
The first time. And I mean, the thing that's amazing about your story, and the reason why I remember when I reached out to you, is because I want people, the whole goal is to be able to normalize the struggle. We oftentimes, and I hate this, we oftentimes, it's hard. It must be a sign from God that I need to stop. Right? And what I used to tell us, the devil's working too. And so the devil's working to make you become discouraged to stop. And so I want you guys, and hearing her story, to realize, all it took was taking a step.
It's how much you want it.
Not,
because if you can easily give up, with one thing happening, how much do you
really wanted. And it's so easy to see the microwave success because we have social media. Let me tell y'all, I was 10 years in before I was buying Louis and Gucci and this and that and looking like it, like I'm able to look now. It took me, you know, I paid for my Plugs lawyer chain that's worth $25,000 in cash, but it took it.
And for y'all who haven't seen it, man, that thing is
I
shining,
might go
y'all.
grab it in a
Shining
second, but
nice.
we ain't about the glitz and the glamour. It's about laying the foundation and doing the actual work. I have seen so many younger attorneys that want to be the law bays and the this and that, but they not putting in that law bay work. The reason why I can stand 10 toes on my name, the Plugs lawyer, even online, even when I'm not dressed up in a suit for you guys and all of these things, because I have put in the actual work behind the brand, behind the name. I've put in the work in court. I've put in the work shadowing other attorneys, working for free, dealing with clients where they haven't paid, and I'm still walking in integrity and showing up to court. So one thing I also want to share with you guys that my firm is built on: respect, integrity, love, and community. Build yourself on those things and you will stand. Build yourself on integrity. Integrity, if you don't know what it means, look it up. But the short answer is integrity is walking by doing the right things even when people not looking at you. It's easy to do the right thing when it's easy to do the right thing when you got somebody looking over your shoulder. But will you not cheat on this exam when you can do the exam from home and nobody's watching you? Don't cheat yourself, treat yourself. And treating yourself is doing shit the right way so you can have a solid foundation. Now, I'll say I've had plenty challenges being the first generation lawyer and the business owner of a brand. But what I will say is I always strive to do the right thing. I always strive to trust God. I always strive to seek counsel even when I need it. People may see me as the face of the brand, but I have of counsel a person that's damn near 80 years old. So seek counsel in this game, and we're here. You got Becoming JD. You got That's Law ebook, my book, my brand. I have free resources out there as well as paid resources. Support us out here doing it. I have the t-shirts that say "That's Cap Your Honor." I got the Lawyer Bay t-shirts. I have my books. Purchase this stuff just like y'all support them celebrities, because we're the ones that's supporting y'all, and it takes resources for Becoming JD to do what he does. It takes resources for the Plugs lawyer to do what I do. So I appreciate you letting me speak to your platform and giving them the game and the perspective, because I charge $500 an hour. We've been on for a good amount of time, but this is my what do you call it, my spiritual investment. Sometimes y'all gotta give back without looking for money all the time. What I'm telling y'all, I charge people to do these sorts of consultations, but sometimes you gotta give, you know.
Well, thank you so much, man, for dropping. So I gotta get that, Your Honor. That's Cap.
Order my shirts at thepluglawyer.com. As far as anybody new that's coming in on this live, Hood Court TV show, that is my TV show. I'm the Black Judge Judy. If you got a case you want to bring it to the show. That's the show for entertainment. If Judge Judy can get 50 million per year, they're gonna pay, the network's gonna pay me 100 million. I'm worth it. We gonna get it, and we gonna get it because y'all gonna support me just like I support y'all.
Absolutely, y'all. I know I'm following. I'm all in. Thank you so much, sis, man. You dropped some serious knowledge.
Oh,
I
no
really appreciate you
problem.
for taking some
Anything else
time.
I can support with, let me know. Again, get the shirt at the Plugs Lawyer brand, and we'll do more collaborations.
I'm going to order mine
Thank
right
you. If
after we
there's
get off
any
this
other
live.
collab you want to do, let me know, because this is the purpose of me having That's Law ebook. I follow a lot of pages, and it's like we all have like a common goal. So united we stand, divided we fall. So I have no problem,
Absolutely.
being a team player for, what we doing. Because that's what it's about. Ain't no crab in the barrel. We all different. It's enough.
Absolutely.
There's no lack. There's no scarcity. It's enough law schools. It's enough money for y'all out there. It's enough opportunities for y'all out there. But it ain't no lack. I want to leave y'all.
This, right?
Right. Can I leave
Y'all hear this, right?
Sorry.
She's dropping knowledge.
I get to going.
I'm saying you dropping knowledge.
May I
want
leave
everybody
with
to
the
get
affirmation?
Because you're speaking from a position. Because I see people look up to you, and I'm like, y'all could be where she is. It ain't. It's the grind. It's the hustle. It ain't pretty. It ain't cute. But man, it's undefeated. Hard work and hustle is undefeated. And you're an inspiration. That's why when I saw your thing, I was like, man, this is fire. So I'm just so happy that you took some time to speak with us. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to hit you
I
up and be like,
appreciate
yo,
you as well.
Because
I definitely want to bring the Lawyer Selfie Museum to other cities, other states. And if y'all want to see what it looks like, just go to my YouTube channel. Everything is The Plugs Lawyer. If you Google The Plugs Lawyer, all my stuff will come up. I'm very easy to find, because when people add lawyer stuff, they get discombobulated and act like they can't do it. And they slow and shit, but y'all can find everything on they can find everything on the Louis Vuitton site, in the Amazon site. But with lawyers, they act slow and shit. No, it's easy to find us.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now let me ask you this, because I'm kind of, how do I X out of the video? Because I don't want to end the whole live. Do you know how to do that? I don't know how to do it.
I will leave the chat, and it should let you stay on, and I'll just come back on and support in the comments.
Okay. All right, well, thank you so much. No, like, seriously.
Let me leave them with the affirmation, though. I leave out affirmation.
Go ahead.
That
do your
you
thing,
are
sis.
worthy of the best. You are worthy of being the best lawyer that you have been called to be. You are already a lawyer, going through law school, taking the LSAT, passing the bar exam, doing the paperwork in the process. That is all just the process for this environment that you're in the system for. But God made you a lawyer already. Walk proud in that. Stand tall in that, and do what you have to do. And I will see y'all on the other side. We need y'all. Continue to walk in what God has for you. Trust God. Put God first. Don't listen to the naysayers, even if the naysayers is in your head. Renew your mind every single day that you wake up. If you have to wake up, here's a tidbit for those that are taking the bar exam. When I passed the bar exam for the first time on the first try, before that, I visualized my name on the bar passage list. I printed out the actual bar passage list from the bar test from before. I printed out that actual list, and I wrote my name at the bottom of that list. And that list I put on my mirror. So that list I had to walk past every single day. That list I had to look at and remind myself that going to the bar exam is just part of the process of walking it out. So like the song say, walk it out, walk it out. Get out. You already here. And I'm going to show you a picture, and I'm going to shut the hell up. Hold on. Here go the picture. This is $60 million win.
and it is on my wall, and I look at this daily because the business of law, I'm still processing this distribution of this money. That's a story for another day, but it's still the same thing. You have to visualize and know. And if you can see the date is December 27th of 2022. So I went to for this I had the trial for this. So it's still a process, even when you're the undefeated attorney called the plug lawyer.
Wow.
It's still a process.
That's amazing. Wow, that's amazing. Wow. You got to be speechless over here, sis.
A girl coming from, you know, like I say, nothing to creating that's nothing but God's grace and mercy and love. That's nothing. That's just like, you know how people be like, oh, I wish I was like Oprah or Tyler Perry or this, that, and the third. If God can do it for Oprah, God can do it for you. If God can do it for Tyler Perry, God can do it for me. If God can do it for Judge Judy, he can do it for Hood Court. So y'all know that God can do it for y'all too. If he can do it for me, and you know Sony got the money, so it's not a company that can't pay the money. God can do it for y'all too. So be blessed. I love y'all.
Wow. Did you guys not just get full off of that? Did y'all not just see that? Did y'all see what that amount said? It was a $160 million settlement that she got from Sony. She didn't go to Georgia State. She didn't go to Emory. She went to John Marshall. And look what just happened there. Look at God, you guys. It all comes down to how bad do you want it. Sis said, for you guys who didn't see what Sis said, Sis went to the law school that she wanted to go to, transcript, letter of recommendations, everything in hand, and talked to the dean. And look what happened. I want you guys to see this is how you're able to move and operate. When you want something, you have to be willing to do what other people aren't willing to do. And I mean, look at that. $160 million. Wow. Wow. And it all comes down to if, in fact, you want it. I remember when I reached out to her at first, I saw Hood Court TV, and I was like, this is amazing. And I was so happy because I wanted you guys to be able to see success, see somebody who looks like you, who's winning, who's manifesting, who's doing what you want to do, who's securing things for her community, who showed, you see the hustle and the grind. The grind and the hustle don't stop. I know we've had similar stories where people, you want to get accepted, show how bad you want it. I had a student who went from, who was on the wait list at George Washington, had LSAT scores, not so perfect LSAT scores. But just like our young lady here from Hood Court TV went and made it happen, she had them to open up a seat for her at George Washington. So if you want it, it's time for you guys to show these law schools how bad you want it. Hood Court TV is doing some amazing things. And I hope by hearing her story, listening to her, seeing her receipts, seeing her hunger, seeing her energy, that it just gets you motivated. I hope it gets you motivated to go extra, to go hard, realizing she did what other people were not willing to do. And because of that, she's continuing to win. Anytime you're willing to do what others aren't, you're going to always stand out. You're going to always win. That's how Tiffany did it, and that's how you guys are going to do it. And I'm just so happy that Tiffany shared her story tonight with us. It took some time to share it with us. And I hope you now understand the type of hunger and the energy you need to be able to go from dreaming about law school to getting into law school to go ahead and graduating, passing the bar, and doing excellence. Tiffany just gave us the blueprint, y'all. All we have to do is show these law schools that we about their life. Make sure you go and follow her at the Plug Lawyer. Make sure you go and follow her the official Simmons Law. Make sure you go and follow her, man, because I want you guys to be motivated. I want you guys to be encouraged. I want all my queens out there to be able to see this is a queen doing things that you guys could do too. $160 million, and she did it right in Dolo by herself. And that's something that everybody out here could do too. You just got to show law schools that you want it. You got to show law schools that you are somebody that these law schools need. She left the law school speechless when she rolled up in there. And I'm more than sure that a lot of you guys out there doubting yourself, that understand that this is something that you could do too. Tiffany did it, y'all. This is someone that you guys could talk to, someone that you guys could reach out to and be able to see that she's giving you guys a blueprint to do the same thing. So I hope that you guys will take this lesson, take what we learned tonight and add it to your toolbox and understand that, like she said, man, she was dropping some bombs about the affirmations, man. I promise, as soon as she said a thing about the newspaper clippings, I was like, man, I got some stuff I'm going to put on my mirror tonight to make sure that I walk by and never forget what I'm fighting for. I know I'm fighting for you guys. I'm fighting to what I want Becoming JD to be like Amazon, where we're helping people wherever they are in their legal journey. And so I'm going to put that on my mirror for my affirmations. And I hope you guys could see that these are things that work for us to be able to move forward. Let's see here. And somebody asked Tiffany, they said, are you guys accepting mentees? There you go. There you go, Tiffany. Look at you, Tiffany, planting seeds, sis. That's what I'm talking about. So I hope you guys, we had a phenomenal session tonight. Phenomenal session. Thank you, Tiffany, so much for dropping in and joining us. Again, I know Wednesday we're going to have Jada on. Jada, of course, was the young lady that went viral on Twitter, on TikTok, because she was able to get $300,000 scholarship from William & Mary Law School just by asking the dean. And so she's going to be coming and joining us Wednesday at 11 to show us what she did to be able to bag these coins and bag these scholarships. And that same energy you saw from Tiffany tonight, we're going to be seeing that same energy from Jada, who's now going into, I think, her second or third year at William & Mary Law School. So make sure you guys tune in. Again, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. Continue to be motivated. Continue to be encouraged. And you know that I'm here to help you along the way. If you need help, I know I have some pre-law strategy sessions for you guys to sign up for one-on-one. And again, I'm here to see you win. Tiffany wants to see you win. We all want to see you guys win and manifest, you guys. So continue to fight for your lawyer dreams. And as I always say with everything, peace and blessings.